Acceptance.
Hey, what's up? This is Bobby Davis here, the tech capital of the world in Kernersville, North Carolina. And I'm joined by Kevin Doyle, the extraordinary producer we have here. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, I'm awesome. I'm good.
All right, good.
I thought it was funny the first two comments here are people like asking us about the question of the question in the video, and it's like, and one of them is Adam, and it's oh boy, I hope so. I hope the answer is yes. And then the next one is Maverick. I better hope so. So and I spent time learning Flutter.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. We'll answer this. And look, All In says they're going to. Hold on, did that one not come up? Oh, there you go. I was going to start learning Flutter. So,
And he was.
yeah.
Our title dissuaded him from doing it.
Maybe not. I don't know. We're gonna talk about that.
All right.
So,
cool.
Yeah. So today's topic was spawned off of all of the news we've been seeing recently with Apple and Epic. So and that's where we're gonna sort of talk about this from that perspective. Then we'll talk about like what we think you should learn and that kind of stuff too. As we go through, if you guys have questions, make sure to post them in chat. Remember, one thing I want to show before we move on. Hold on, I'm gonna move to a wider view. Sweet shirt. You got your black on black. I dropped it off last night, so that's awesome. I love it. It looks good. Like I wore mine yesterday. I have the old one on today. I'm doing it today.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I love it. It's my new favorite shirt.
So the guys in the office saw it today, and they all want one now.
Well, it's funny, when I came by, I dropped it off last night, right? You weren't there, Jason and Drew were there, and they're like, what? And I was like, oh, new shirt? And I was like, yeah. So they're like, where's mine? I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, ask Bobby. Like, I don't know. Like, he's like, so Jason's like, I will, tomorrow, first thing. I'm like, okay. And so he clearly did.
Yeah, Antonio bought one too, so.
Oh, did he? Okay, that's funny. Let me push this up here. Yes.
I'm still in my new set today, so I'm not totally comfortable. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I put my little. So I've had this little thing. Where is it? Right there, right? So I've had it for a minute, this little board, and it was in the office, and I picked it up last night. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna put. We're talking about Apple stuff today, so we're talking about mobile dev, so I'm gonna put Apple up there. So there's that. Also, again, we're on this new platform too, so the super chat thing works again. If anybody wants to play with it, that's cool. You can super chat as a little animation thing will come up.
Yeah, and we'll guarantee to ask your questions. So if you have a question you want us to answer, and there's a lot of people asking questions, super chat's the one that we'll guarantee to answer.
This is funny. Look at Esteban. Well, this is a fun one. Totally unrelated to that Xamarin course next week, right? And actually, it is. It's totally unrelated. I promise.
It's unrelated.
It actually is. Wait, this is not related to that at all.
Our Xamarin course is next week.
We'll mention that at the end. It is next week, and we will mention that at the end. But it's not related to this, really. I promise. This is not an overt ad for Xamarin.
It's more about like well, we'll just get into it. So let's talk about like Epic and Apple.
Okay.
So I know you got some views on this. I haven't made my views known yet because I don't know what I think yet. But like,
okay, and I'm not stuck in. I've said this before. I'm not stuck in my views on this. I just have my gut instinct views on this. And the first thing that I thought was, well, okay, so I mean, I'm assuming everybody knows what's going on here. So Fortnite, Epic's a North Carolina company, so they're in.
It's a North Carolina company,
so it's a big company. They're $1 billion company. They've sold a lot of skins in Fortnite to make them $1 billion company, right?
But they also make Unreal Engine.
They make Unreal Engine, right, which is a big deal. A lot of games are powered by Unreal Engine. They are $1 billion company. They are not a small dog in this fight.
And they got that small other little game called Gears of War. It's a little small thing that no one played.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They're not a little guy in this fight. They're just not. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's not who they are. So they have this game on the App Store, and they decide to push out an update into both app stores, actually, both the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store, both the official stores, where they bypass the payment system. Also, here's what else they did: the in payment system that, like, through Apple Pay or through Google Pay, right? Here's what else they did too, by the way, which I don't think we've talked about. The price that they pushed out was lower. They put a discount on the direct price, so it was $9.99 to go through Apple. It was $7.99 to go through direct.
Right.
So not only did they push it through, they discounted it too. So of course everybody wants to buy the discount price, right? So
yeah, so the technically how this works is, I've been reading a lot about it this morning. So like you have this thing in Apple land called the IAP, which is in-app purchases.
Right.
And you have to use the IAP for in-app purchases and things like subscriptions. So like if you're buying a skin in Fortnite, you're supposed to use that model to transfer the payment. A couple of problems that people have is, number one, you as the app developer can't know who that customer is. Apple shields you from the customer, so you have no way to remarket to them.
Right.
That's a problem.
But, well, is it though? It's good from a customer perspective. I'm thinking for me, like, okay, that's great. I'm only sharing my info with Apple, not with every third-party company that decides to do business. And I'm assuming that's their sales point too, right? That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're not shielding you from remarketing. They're shielding you from they're just protecting your data.
Right.
I guess that's the.
So and so when you use in-app purchases, they get 30% of the revenue.
Right.
So and then I looked up and I said, well, are they being unfair? Steam charges 30, Google charges 30. For subscriptions that last over a year, there is some sliding discounts that you get down, or we can get down to 20% on Google side, and I think 20% on the Steam side. So if you're building a game and you want to release it on mobile, you have two platforms, Android and Apple.
Right.
You have two stores, Play Store and the Apple Store, and they both charge kind of the same percentage.
They do, and here's Apple's argument. So Tim Cook sat in front of that with the Congress or whatever it was, the antitrust hearing that they did. He sat in front of them and he basically gave some historical context to say that actually 30% is not a bad deal, because previously in the old sort of brick and mortar days when there were physical software pieces of thing, it was 70%. And Maverick's saying exactly the same thing here. Look, he's saying when you bought games in the store earlier, the markup was 70%. It was 50 to 70 is what they were saying. Which is true. So the developer made 30%. Apple's point is, well, we flipped the model. Now the developer makes 70 and we make 30. Now, that 30% obviously makes a ton of money. Apple just became the first US company to top $2 trillion in market cap. That's massive. There's only some oil companies that have done this before, and I guess only one of them is currently. So it's huge. They're a giant company. Clearly they're making a lot of money, and obviously from these iOS purchases, that 30% is it's billions. It's literally billions. Right, it's a massive amount of money. So it's not small change. So they are making profits, but it also is there to cover the service, right? They have to. There's a platform. They've had to. There's servers. There's people. There's the infrastructure behind this. It's not. I guess my thinking is that Epic's point is to say 30% is unfair. Not that they shouldn't pay anything or anything. They're saying that it's an unfair amount. And Apple's pushback is obviously, well, it used to be 70.
Yeah, and so I guess from Epic's side, they're saying we want a volume discount.
And this is, yes, and that's probably true, because what's happened in another point in this is other companies have gotten that discount.
Amazon got
Amazon got a discount, right? They got a 0 discount. They
waive fees.
Exactly, they waive fees, and this is where Apple gets in trouble, because they have this agreement. Apple's going to want to say, well, Epic, you signed this agreement. This is just how it is. Everybody abides by this. But then Epic are going to say, well, hold on, you let this guy go. What about me? Like, why did you let them go? And the reason is they let Amazon go on the Prime Video purchases, right, or video purchases in their apps, because I think Amazon or Apple realized that, hold on a minute, if we alienate all the Amazon people from being able to watch video, they're not going to buy our devices anymore. We're pushing them to Android devices at that point.
Right.
That's bad for us.
Fortnite is on Xbox. It's on
everything, man. If it's got a computer in it,
Steam, and they're paying fees everywhere they go. I didn't look today to see what the Xbox fees are, I can't imagine them being any less than
They're going to be in the same
30%.
ballpark. They're going to be. Everybody,
Right.
it's a standard. So here's the other thing too. Epic aren't rallying against Apple. They're rallying against the entire system. It's the whole model. Right. They've chosen Apple because Apple fell for the bait, and they basically baited them, and they were like, okay, we're going to pull off the store, and they're the first to do it. So they had the lawsuit ready. By the way, that was the other thing too. They had a 36-page, I think it was, lawsuit, and that video ready to roll the very next day. The 1984 video they made with the Fortnite characters, that was ready to roll, man. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what was going to happen, and they just pulled the trigger on it. And the next day, here's your lawsuit, and here's the video. And the video makes them out. They want to portray that they're for the gamer. They're for the people, right? Apple's the bad guy and we're for the people. This is a multi-billion-dollar company, man. They're not for the people. That's just junk. That's just junk. They're about like, oh, you're taking 30% of my profits. I want to keep more of that. That's it. Period.
Right.
Yet
So
they
this
want to
is how
rally
they're
people
gonna
against
get
it.
a discount.
Yeah, they want to rally people against it because they're saying, well, they took it off your platform. You can't play Fortnite anymore, so this company's bad. I just don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't know how this. I'm interested in it. So the question is like, do we think it's unfair? When I looked at all of the platforms, are all kind of the same. So
Yeah.
And then does Amazon gets a special deal based on volume? That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an
That's
issue.
always the way the world works. I mean, I think Apple can make their own decisions and charge what they want. So, and then obviously Epic has the same rights to say, well, we're just not going to put our game on your store.
Right.
So, but what people are doing is they're creating websites that handle the subscription payment.
Right. Which is what a couple
that are
of
off platform.
Exactly, and this is what a couple of people have done with iOS stuff. So Spotify did this, I know,
Yes.
and what was the other one that did this? There was another one too. Oh, well, Amazon technically did it with books, right? So on an iOS device right now, you cannot buy a book in the Kindle app. Right? If you go to the app, you can read the books, but you can't buy the book. You got to go to a website to buy the book.
Right.
The reason being that they're bypassing that by saying, well, okay, if you're going to take 30% of that purchase that's in-app, we're just not going to sell it in-app. And the same with Spotify. They were like, okay, you can download the app, you can listen to the music, you sign in, you can do all that stuff, but you cannot subscribe on the iPhone or an iOS device.
It's weird, and Amazon takes this state because they take fees for merchants on their store.
Right. Right. It's a weird thing. It's a weird time we're in.
Yeah.
It's everybody's competing for like just more % of the pie. That's all they're really arguing about.
Right.
It's like they want you to believe that it's some like moral standpoint on something. It's not, man. They just want more money.
So did I? And I didn't look in this further. Just tell me, and I think I'm right here. I think they offered the subscriptions in app still for $9.99, but on their website it was $7.99.
That's what I was saying too. Yeah, that's what exactly.
Okay.
No, what actually happened is on the app. What happened is when you went to the app, the subscription was Apple Pay $9.99, Epic Pay $7.99, discounted is what it said. It's like,
right.
That's just they knew what they were doing. They're just baiting them. Just
30% of kind of roughly,
yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, and that's what they're saying.
It's more like 20% discount, but
there was another company too that I think it might have been Spotify or somebody else that allowed you could use Apple Pay, but you basically paid the extra 30%. So it's a similar kind of deal. They were like, oh, you can use that,
right,
but you pay, but we're going to make it $3 more than if you went to our website.
Yeah,
I think it was Spotify.
So we're passing the cost on to you.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Right.
Yep.
So what if you didn't want to pay the Apple Store? So like you got a couple choices here. I think I do believe that because this went through a lawsuit, if you have an off-platform payment mechanism,
yep,
they're going to shut you down, and they're going to go after you and find you, and they're going to shut them all down.
Maybe.
If you're offering an in-app purchase and you have an off-site payment mechanism and those prices are different, they're going to kick you off their platform.
I agree with that.
And
I
so
think
the only way around
at least
this
have to be the same.
Yeah.
So what do you say? A progressive web app?
Yeah.
Versus
so
going through the store, right?
Right, and you don't release it on your store,
right?
And then you have to find a way to get eyeballs to your app and market
Yep.
it more traditional marketing scheme.
Okay, so this
the question is would it cost more to do that? That's the question a lot of companies are going to find out. It's like, how much would it cost us to get our app out? Second, can you actually build Fortnite in a progressive web app? And I would say that would probably not happen.
Right.
I think
we know that's not. We know that. Yeah, we know that you can't do that right now. You just can't.
Right.
That there are limitations to these things. We know that there's not a good. There's a reason there's no progressive web app version of Photoshop. For me, that's the bar, right? For me, it's like when they can do Photoshop in it, you can do just about anything. And you can't do
What's
that
interesting
yet,
is WebAssembly may change this.
Maybe.
No one's done it yet because it's so brand new. But I bet you right now that they're trying to figure out what they can do that's not on the platform.
Right. And that's the thing. I think there's a case here to look at.
App.
Exactly. There's a case here as a developer for being up on progressive web apps, and that can definitely be a pitch if you're trying to get a job. You can actually go into a company and be like, oh, you're doing this? I got this. You should look at this. Like, this is something, and maybe companies will pivot that way and look for people.
There's another wrinkle to this that's interesting. When you talk about progressive web apps, there's a Twitter clone or a Twitter competitor called Gab.
Okay.
And they released theirs as a progressive web app because Apple wouldn't allow them in their store, or Google.
Oh, is it because it's a direct clone of Twitter then? They thought it was
more something to do with some kind of like speech or something like that. But
okay. I was going to say, which makes more sense because we talked about this before.
But like it's interesting that they went the PWA route, but I can tell you that it's harder to get your app noticed just from your website. But
for sure.
But I guarantee you though that if you have a brand already, you're going to see PWAs come out.
Right.
If you're New York Times, there's no reason why you can't have a PWA for the New York Times, and there's no functionality that you can't put in a news site and charge a subscription for that you can't get in a native app experience.
Right. So
it's kind of interesting.
You
got any questions?
Westerman says there's also still not a central platform for PWA distribution. That's true. One of the reasons the App Store on each respective platform has been so successful is due to ease of finding things in one place. Yeah,
he's right.
I agree. Yep.
And what I would say is, if you're a PWA guy and you're asking for a central place for PWA distribution,
guess what that's going to cost you?
Sign up for the exact same thing.
30%. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So, do you want freedom or do you want notification? Do you want to get noticed? I mean, like that's the choice. Yeah. So, if you want to be on the I want to be free and I want to do it and I want to keep 100% of it, then you're going to have to build a marketing department to get your app out there.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And that could be a problem. I mean, it may be cheaper just to put it in the store.
Well, I think ultimately it will be. Because think about it from a consumer perspective too, right? A consumer doesn't want to have to go hunting for these things either. I just want to pull up the App Store and find it.
But in the case of Fortnite, people do want to go find it because they have a brand. So for the small company that you're reading your first new app, you're going to have to push that through the store.
Right.
I've been interested, I wonder how DoorDash and all these other guys are getting around this.
I don't know about DoorDash. Yeah, I'm not sure. Does anybody
There's no way that, there's 30% of a DoorDash fee. It seems like they wouldn't be in business.
I don't know, though. There is a service fee attached to them, though. It's not just a delivery fee.
Maybe that's where they're hiding it.
So maybe you're just paying it.
Yeah.
It's kind of expensive to get a DoorDash. It is. When you account for it, you get it.
$8 to get delivered, and then you tip.
Exactly. You get a $20 meal. It's costing you $35
of the price for the your chicken McNuggets. Is Apple getting 30% of all that? I'd be curious to see how it works.
Yeah, I don't know actually. the service fee is definitely based on the amount of your order. So it is a percentage, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe just the consumer, they're passing it on to the consumer, and that's just okay for now. How does it work with, like, I wonder if Uber is the same thing too, though? Is that the same? I don't know. I'm not sure on some of these. Yeah, exactly. If you're on iOS and you call an Uber, are they taking 30% of that?
Must be.
I guess they must be.
But if they're not, then Fortnite has
right. And I'm assuming that they must be.
Dude,
no, you're right.
What's up with that?
No, they 100% must be. That's definitely has to be a thing. Which is why they're a $2 trillion company, because how many people are using those things? A lot. I was asking how much margins do these food delivery services have. My guess is it's way lower than a lot of the others.
They're publicly traded, though, man. Like, there's two of them that are publicly traded. DoorDash being one of them, and so
yeah,
they're big deals. They make a lot of money.
They do, but my guess is it's based on volume, not on margin per.
I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of they're charging a percentage to the restaurant for each order.
Okay.
If I had to guess, it's like 6%.
Okay, interesting.
Maybe 10. So I'm gonna go talk to a restaurant guy today and ask him.
Okay.
I'll come back with information what he's paying for DoorDash.
Okay, cool. I like that. That's awesome. Here's a question from John. John is asking, how does this affect .NET 5?
Yeah, so like here's the thing, John, about .NET 5, and this is what we'll get into the technical part of this now. So the question is, should you build mobile apps? I think you're going to build a business model. If you're making a business model right now today and you're building a mobile app, you need to plan on 30% of that going to one of these stores, and then that's how you figure out how we make money. I mean, I think it's just going to be a nature of what you do. If you go off app purchasing and you try to make a subscription-based website and then make your mobile app free, I mean, you run the risk of being shut down, especially the moment you start making money. I think that they're going to like call you out. So where I land on this is that Apple built a platform and they give you a distribution network that you wouldn't normally have. It's worth money. And the more
I think the debate is how much.
On that, yeah, how much should they take?
Yeah.
And the more you make, should you get a discount? And then I think ultimately can they arbitrarily decide to kick you off? Well, you have terms of service, and if you violate those, they can kick you off. So
right. And I'm sure, don't forget in this argument too, Apple have threatened to pull Epic's license or whatever it is, their developer license.
All that stuff's gone. They pulled every bit of it.
So they're saying they're pulling the Unreal part out of iOS, which hurts a whole bunch of other developers too. And it's like, I guarantee you that is in the small print of the contract. I guarantee it's there, otherwise they would not be doing it. Apple is going to push back on this whole thing.
Do stuff to see if you can get away with
I don't know. So, they're going to push back on this whole thing and just say, this is just a contract dispute. It's in the contract. Yeah. They violated it. We pulled it. We have the right to. It's right here in the fine print. And Epic are going to say, it's more than a contract dispute. This is a bigger thing. We want to take this further than just the contract because the contract's crap in the first place. That's what they're going to say.
Right.
And it's just going to come down to who wins that argument and which way it goes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, you got any other questions real quick, and I'll get into the .NET 5 thing.
Yeah, let's see. Brian's saying, is web development being overtaken by mobile development? That's interesting.
So, Brian, I don't think so, man. I don't think anyway. I think they're both very prevalent in society right now. So, but I think enterprise mobile development, you've definitely seen an uptick that in the last 12 months, and it would have been higher if it wasn't for COVID, I think. I definitely think that you're going to see more mobile devs going out, but the problem is WebAssembly. So WebAssembly comes out, and now everyone's asking the question, do I need to make a native app? So do I need to build it natively? Can I build it with web-based tools and run it on my the other devices? And so that's really, I think, where you're going to go. The problem is how you're going to build the apps. And so like that's the thing that we all need to decide to do. So building a mobile app may be the same thing if .NET 5 and .NET 6 has its way, that they just get compiled to the different platforms and you can use the same code base to do that. And that's
You've
what
been saying
I think
this for a while. It's just how it gets. It's just a way you choose to deploy it is the question.
Yeah, and then but when it gets down to native, then you have different UI kits that work for native platforms that don't work for other platforms. So, so it's going to be like depending on where these tooling vendors go, but it looks like if you read into the tea leaves, cross-platform development, not just cross-platform mobile development, is where everyone's going. And so like you'll build a website and a mobile site in the same project, but that right now is still not available. I mean, with PWAs you can get there. So Electron you can sort of get there for desktop cross-platform. But for web and mobile, just doing that, you're looking at a PWA, something like a Blazor running in WebAssembly that you don't have to run with native tools. But right now, I think those two things are separate. Now, what Microsoft's doing with .NET 5 is they're putting the Xamarin Mono runtime, the .NET, what we called 4.8, the standard, all under one .NET, so that you have one common base class library that all of these applications can run against. It's just the UI kits are still separate. So if you want to run WPF or WinForms and run something on desktop for Windows, you can, and you can use the same .NET 5 to do that. If you want to write a Xamarin app, then that will run on .NET 5, but you still have to use XAML on your front-end UI kit to do that. And then if you want to build web or some kind of JavaScript front-end, you do that, but that would still run on your server with .NET Core runtime. So I don't think it's going to be overtaken. I think that we're still going to build apps. And as long as you're paying attention to how the different UI kits are evolving, then you'll be fine. But for the next year to 2 years to 3 years, we're still going to be down this track of building mobile natives. There'll be some PWAs coming out, and then there'll still be web applications being built because it's going to be targeting a bigger screen or a bigger form factor. Yep. Hope that helps, Brian.
So here's some comments / questions as we go through some of these things. So Veda says, Apple doesn't take your money on Uber Ride. They only take on in-app purchases like features and game levels. I don't know how they can distinguish the difference between those, though.
That's an in-app purchase, though.
Yeah, isn't it? Is it an in-app service? I'm not quite sure. I don't know. But that's interesting.
I think you have to use the IAP for everything, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't know about that. Netflix used to pay $700,000, but they now should open a page in Safari. This is what we're talking about. This is bypassing the system, basically. The bigger companies have definitely been doing this. And this is exactly what Chad's saying.
This is called the off-platform purchase, where you go off-platform to make your purchase.
It's an off-platform purchase. And that's exactly what this is too, Chad. Exactly the same thing. When you open a web browser, yes. Which is why you can buy a book on the Safari Amazon store on here, but not on the actual Amazon store. It's just so confusing.
Right.
Zeus has a strong opinion about this. If anyone tries to talk you out of mobile development, they are idiots. Mobile isn't going anywhere, especially since blockchain is coming along. Mobile apps will need integration for mobile payments.
So, like, the devices aren't going anywhere. I think we're making the distinction of how you're going to build it.
Yeah.
My question is, are you going to build them native, or you're going to build it with web-based tools?
Right.
And I think that's where everyone's trying to go. But for the foreseeable future, you're building cross-platform native apps with 3 ways. Flutter, obviously, we promote Xamarin, but and React Native. So those are the 3 ways that you're going to build a cross-platform native application.
Right.
But when you look at something like WebAssembly and you see PWAs coming out, and you're like, oh, what can I do with that PWA? What is the limit? And I don't know the answer to that. And I'm sure I could do some experimentation on that. But if it's just a businessy site and you just want to collect payments for Uber rides, you absolutely can build it with a PWA.
Right.
Yeah, you can. The problem is it doesn't run natively on your app. It runs more like a website with Chrome around it, so it doesn't look as cool. It doesn't feel as connected, so the user experience could go down, things like that. But we're absolutely, I guess it's EE. I guess we'll call him E.
I'm going to go with
1914.
I'm going with ESUS.
Yeah, you're going to be building apps that run on mobile devices. The question is, where are the UI kits going? I think that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yep. Yeah. But in sentiment, yes, you're going to be building these things, and I think our point in actually making this video, period, is that don't let what's happening now dissuade you from continuing to look at mobile as an option. It might change in terms of how these companies interact with each other, and how much money they make and those kind of things, but it's not going to stop that. Those apps aren't going away, whether they're native or PWAs or whatever it is. They're still going to exist.
Exactly.
Don't be dissuaded by this thing being like, oh man, they're going to take down the App Store, so I shouldn't build an Apple app. It's a $2 trillion company. Trust me. Worst case, they're going to end up paying a bunch of money and they still continue. Like it's not going anywhere. They're not going to shut down overnight.
They're not. Let's get some more comments.
Yeah, let's see here. John says he did his first Electron project yesterday. It's fun.
Yeah, so we're making a video about this right now, and I'll just spoil one of my features in that, and it's the promise of cross-platform from .NET. And so when you look at .NET being a cross-platform library, it is true for server-based stuff. For Windows or desktop, that's not the case. So WPF and WinForm won't run like on Linux or Mac OS. It only runs on Windows. The underlying code, like written in .NET Core, will run anywhere. You just got to figure out a UI kit to get your UI running on Linux or Mac. Now, what they can do inside of .NET Core is if you take something like Visual Studio for Mac and you can run, they do have a template where you can make Coca-based projects that will run on Mac, but you're still using some Apple tools to build out your front ends, but it all connects together and you can run it behind the scenes. So Electron is one of those things that you can use to build cross-platform desktop apps. And you're using web tools to do it. So basically it's a website surrounded by Chrome. And then there's some other ones out there that give you other kind of experiences as well. So there's Microsoft has a couple of projects out there too that compete with Electron. But they're kind of still experimental.
Okay.
They're not in production yet. So
what did you make, John?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you can do it.
I'm interested in what you actually made, what John made, what his first project was.
Okay, did he?
He didn't. No.
Oh, he's got some images.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just gonna say Imgenu maybe. Java or Kotlin? How long Java will survive?
The reason he's asking this is because you're probably primarily centered around mobile development.
Right.
And so, like, we do know that Java is significantly used a lot in Android development, and now Google's come out and said Kotlin is their preferred language for building mobile apps. So will Java survive? I think so, yeah, man. It's going to be built around server things. You're going to still build websites with it. So right now, it seems like Kotlin is going to be pushed to where they want. So we'll see what happens with Java long term, but like right now, I wouldn't have any aversion to knowing it. It's just like if you're already coding for a living, you know these things are coming, so maybe it is a time to reach out and look at Kotlin. Right. Kotlin has different things than Java as far as like things it can target. But C# has its place too in that, so I think all three of them will be around.
Alex wants to know, he's late to the party, did we come to a conclusion? Yes. Okay, we'll be back. See you next time.
So Tech Rally, Alex, basically what we're coming to a conclusion and what we're saying is that there's going to be different ways that you build mobile applications, and that you need to look at the prospect of how long building completely native applications is going to be around. And so when you look at the tooling that's out there right now, you look at Xamarin, React Native, and Flutter, those are going to build cross-platform mobile applications. and they run native. But with the advent of PWA and WebAssembly, the question is going to start becoming like, do I really need to put it in the App Store or not? Can I just build it that way and then avoid the App Store? So that's kind of what we're talking about. Sorry you're late.
I'm going to do two things from Maverick. I have 1 point and then one sort of question that we can't answer, and then one real question. Random thought: will there be 2021 Oscars? There will be, and so you don't think? Oh, you don't think so? No, there will be. I think there will be, and some weird movie's going to win the whole thing.
Well, some weird movie always wins it.
Well, out of the 3 movies that came out this year, I think there will be. You don't think? Do you think they'll just abandon it?
They have to.
I don't.
Unless movies could get released here in the next month.
Yeah.
And so the Oscar bait movies could get out in the middle of the year.
Man, have they ever been cancelled? I don't know. I don't know. Because a lot of things, obviously, previous things were doing war times, and I think they predate war times. I'm not sure. I'm talking about world wars. I think the Oscars predate those. I'm not sure. Interesting.
I don't know.
But anyway,
if it does, Tenet should win.
You haven't even seen it yet. Oh, related to that. Hold on, related to that. Before we talk about the next question, movies open up again on the 28th. I'm sure you know this. Did you book your tickets yet? You did?
I'm driving to South Carolina to see it.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I keep seeing in my Facebook feed now, like, all the movie theaters saying, like, we're open on the 28th. Get your tickets. It'll be safe.
Are they going to open in North Carolina? Because I didn't think they were going to open in North Carolina.
I don't know. Maybe. I just keep seeing it in my Facebook feed that the theaters are opening on the 28th. So,
yep.
I don't know.
So we're planning to go to Columbia, South Carolina to see an IMAX.
Okay.
On the 28th.
Okay. Awesome.
Road trip. With helmets.
Full on face masks, helmets. You got everything.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so real question from Maverick here. It says, with cross-platform, can you develop for iOS and Android? But how do you differentiate your app in iOS, iPad OS, and Watch OS? Also, cross-platform doesn't integrate new features as fast for iOS. Okay, so basically saying you can do cross-platform, but can you do cross-platform for the watch, for the iPad, for the phone, for all the devices?
So I'm going to speak about Xamarin here.
Okay.
Just because I know that you can do it with Xamarin.
Okay.
So Xamarin, you have a concept of a shared library where you have your shared business logic, and then you can build out different UIs based on the form factor. So there are like things for watch and wearables inside of Xamarin. And then for iPad, because it's bigger, you can tailor your UIs around using something similar to like media queries and things like that. But typically, if you build it just for the phone, a lot of times it looks kind of funky on an iPad because the buttons are bigger or whatever. But you can accommodate for that based on the size of the device. Xamarin, in general, keeps up very well with the new features as the new iOS comes out. So, and there's always going to be a lag with all of the tooling vendors. And so, like, but it's not like months or years. They're usually talking to Apple and Android, and they release them really quickly. So,
okay, that's good to know.
So, but again, the thing is like if you don't believe me on that, you can write it in Swift, but then you turn around writing it in Kotlin or Java on the other side, so you have 2 code bases, and that's a problem for most enterprises. And second, you got to decide: does your app really need the bleeding edge thing that iOS has? If you've got a new spinner or a new way to display something, or they got a new slide mechanism or something like that, do I really need that for my app to be successful? And the answer is most cases no.
For some people and some developers, it's about chasing the shiny new, right?
But if you're chasing that and that's something that you need, then maybe the only way to do it for is to write it native with Apple tools. It's just you're going to have 2 code bases at that point.
Right.
And that's why I think in the enterprise, cross-platform mobile development is huge, because people don't want to do it twice. So,
yeah, makes total sense. So Vada, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I do apologize. He's undergraduate, final year with DS and algorithms knowledge. Will mobile dev and web dev make my resume great?
Right, so the quicker you can build projects, the better you're going to do in interviewing. period.
And you
Whether that's a
can
mobile
build
app or a web
mobile
app.
for that, right? We say you can have a mobile portfolio of
Right.
applications.
It's just harder to show. I mean, like it's harder to demonstrate.
You've got to show it with the device, right? Or have
You
it in
got to
the
show up
store
with the
to have it
device in hand.
downloadable.
Yeah. So you got to get it running in the App Store, and then to ask people to download your random APK or something like that is probably not a good avenue for them to do. But you could, if you interview and you walk in with your own mobile device and show it running, that can be very kind of compelling. What we're teaching in our Xamarin class is how do I build a mobile app front end. I've got an intermediate web API that the mobile app communicates to, and then it has a web-based backend for administrative. And so those three things together, I think, would be really cool on your portfolio. So, but yeah, if you got a great mobile dev app, find a way to show it, put screenshots, that kind of stuff, and then bring your device with you so you can show it off during the interview. I think that's cool.
Yep, definitely. John's asking, currently an Azure support engineer. That's cool. Any tips for moving towards a dev role? Similar advice, I'm guessing. Portfolio, right?
Yeah, so learn how to code. I mean, like, so however you go start your learning journey, whether that's online, going to a boot camp, or going to college. If you're working for Azure, maybe they have a path for you in company. I would think they would.
Try and leverage your Azure experience too. You have some technical experience there. You must know a little bit about deploying to the platform, is my guess.
Yeah.
So try and leverage that too. It's a good question. I like this one. He's asking, do you think it's best to be versatile with frameworks or be an expert in one area?
So if you're trying to break in, we say this a lot, learn how to do one thing really well and learn how what you want to build, whether it be a mobile app or a web app. And then you build that and then learn one of those stacks really well and then kind of make your first entry in the career based on that. So if you build web apps, build something around ASP.NET. If you're building mobile, build something around some kind of mobile framework that you can deploy apps to, and then apply for jobs where your stack matches what the employer is looking for. And so I would say it's being an expert in one of those areas with one of those frameworks, because that's what you're going to be using on the job, and then interview for those jobs that match that expertise that you've built up. And then branch out after you got your first job, and you can learn different things and add more tools to your toolkit, to your tool belt. Hope that helps. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
This is interesting. I think you have an opinion on this too. Hey, it's Guns N' Roses 227. I'm a fan. Do you think entering the development/programming field to work and travel is a feasible reason to do it? I don't truly have a career passion, but instead life goals. I see it as a trade, not passion. This one's tough.
So you're just doing it for the money?
Pretty much, I think that's what it's saying. Okay. Well, I would say when you say life goals, I would say that means making a bunch of money, having a nice house, car, whatever. I'm gonna assume that's what that means. So it is a trade, making money, not a passion.
Right. That's okay.
It can be, but it can also be bad because you might hate it. If you
might hate it, but you're not gonna be doing it as a trade if you hate it.
And I think that's the distinction.
If it's complete drudgery, and you're like, dude, I don't want to type another thing on the keyboard. Yes. You're either gonna get fired or you're gonna quit. So I think that but to be passionate also means that you don't have to speak at every conference. You don't have to code 90 hours on the weekend. You don't have to invent frameworks or anything like that. You're just fixing your bugs in your 9 to 5. You go home at 5. You have a nice life and a 401k and a paycheck.
Right.
I think that's okay, and I think that we try to tell people all the time that come through the boot camp, this can be a job, and you can be good at it, but you don't have to be, on stage and building a brand and inventing frameworks or anything like that to make a living doing this.
Right.
You also don't have to work for any of the FANG companies, Google, Netflix, or Apple, or Microsoft, or any of those companies to make it as a developer. So I think that's great, man. I mean, and you'll still get your 2 weeks or 3 weeks vacation and time off and travel and make money. And
yep, there's plenty of six-figure salary developers that are in that ballpark. Lots.
Yeah, man. They're just like,
there's lots.
So.
Okay. It's sort of. I like the name. Oh, I like the little cartoon. That's cool. I'm an iOS developer, but I want to work in machine learning. I have undergrad in math and CS. Do I have any chance?
Well, yeah.
How do you combine iOS with machine learning, though? How does that?
So you got to display things somewhere whatever the result of your model's learning is. You got to write things where people can consume the information. So for example, the biggest one you're seeing right now is like if you're looking at something like machine learning for that GPT-3 thing we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
You give it a prompt, the output is a story. So like you got to display that somehow, some way. So, but machine learning itself is a different skill set, and it's using different techniques, different technologies, sometimes different languages than what you would normally do for an iOS developer. So you're gonna have to gain expertise in that area and start building things. So machine learning, obviously .NET has ML.NET, but it's big into Python with things like TensorFlow and things like that are really big. There's a lot of libraries out there, and it's a really broad thing. I will say it's getting easier to do, which is good. The tooling's getting better. But you got to find a way to visualize these models being kind of created. So I think you have a chance, yeah. Do whatever you want.
Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Get to that in a second. Here we go. Restless Tink is saying, can you do AR development with Xamarin?
I think it's Unity is the best choice.
Yeah.
I'd have to go look. I don't know if they have AR work. I just know that when I've played around with AR development with the HoloLens, that's all done in Unity. So I think Unity is what you want to look into to get the best of that world. So, but it's still C# backend. It's still built on the Mono framework. It's just that the toolkit that is tailor-made to go to VR glasses, and the Xamarin is tailor-made to go to mobile devices. And then the gaming stuff is built into Unity. So that's kind of where you need to be.
Okay. Let me share this here. Pull that off. Share this. This is John's Electron app that he was working on. So he says it's designed for multi-dashboards. Yeah, think hospitals. So I guess it's like an aggregate browser of some kind. Okay. I've seen some things like this before. I can't remember where I've seen that kind of layout before, where you pull in multiple
dashboards to consume data or
feeds
something like
that. Yeah. I guess like Hootsuite has a similar thing, right, where you pull in different feeds into a thing like that. Maybe there's something kind of similar.
So John, here's my thing. I'm looking at this right now. So like what I would recommend is when I see this, it looks like a news aggregator site. If you want to show this to someone in the business world, just change up how it's viewed, like your sample. And so like if this is meant to be like dashboards where I'm looking at like P&Ls, charts and stuff like that, change your demo. If it's truly going to be used to like dock your different feeds, then that's fine the way it is. I don't know what your purpose of building it was for, but just kind of align your purpose, the goal of the app with your demo. If that needs to change it. If not, it looks cool.
Yeah, very cool. Let me see. What we got here? I haven't read this question, but we're putting it up anyway. I'm going to go with 5. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Companies that want .NET C# are big enterprise companies with HR departments that want people with a CS degree. That a CS degree should target smaller companies that don't need a degree. Correct.
So .NET's used everywhere.
Yeah,
it's used
this is like an urban legend.
Yeah, it's just an urban legend that only 5 companies use .NET. I mean, everyone's using it. We're trying to hire them out all the time.
We see very small companies.
But right, even if you're a small company, that you can definitely, 3-man IT department could have an app written in ASP.NET just as easy as they can write it in Python. There's nothing reason that small company doesn't pick.
We totally see it every day, right? We see it all the time. Like we're constantly putting people in smaller companies that is a 4-man dev team, a 2-man dev team, and they're writing stuff in .NET C#.
Right. So one's interviewing with one today, and their whole app is written in .NET.
Yeah.
So like, don't think that .NET is just used in big enterprise, but it is used in big enterprise, and so you can hook on with those too. And you don't have to have a CS degree to work at these big enterprises, especially if you have a good portfolio and you can demonstrate project work. Most people are self-taught anyway. So I don't think. And then there are some companies that if you don't have a CS degree, we don't interview you. But then there's many that don't care.
Yeah,
just want to know what you can do.
They're not the majority. We've definitely placed people or had our students work at banks and companies like Microsoft without CS degrees.
Yes.
So we know it's a fact because we've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, it's a fact.
So yeah.
So the question is, can you demonstrate skill during the interview?
Yep. A follow-up to Guns N' Roses question. So he's searching for a means to work remotely / something I can do while traveling. Freelance contract work while making enough money to live. I don't need to make 100K. Okay.
Yeah, then start freelance, man.
Just remember,
if you want
freelance,
to backpack Europe,
person.
I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
You got to be a salesperson, and you're looking at Odesk and Toptal and those kind of sites where you can find remote work that you can do.
Being a freelancer is more than just doing the work. You've got to be the entire company in one person, and a big part of that is sales. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of developers don't want to do sales.
Yeah, and you got to make sure too that that when you sign onto a contract, that you actually deliver the contract. So like if traveling's your main gig, you make sure that you pay for it with your freelance work. So you do have to stop enough to actually build the website or build the application. So it's possible though. Yeah.
I know here's one you love. How good with and how much of a focus should I be putting on data structures and algorithms while learning?
I think it's fine. I mean, you need data structures, obviously, you use them when you're building things, but I think you should be really focusing on building projects. So like if you're doing 90% algorithms, thinking that you're going to see these algorithm challenges in every interview you go to, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to see someone walk in there with a portfolio of projects and get hired, while you can do a binary tree search. Doesn't mean it's not useful. It just means that not every interview is like Google's. And I think we way overestimate what a Facebook, Google interview is and how other companies interview.
Right.
So, I mean, we're seeing now where people get projects to take home and they do them.
Yeah. So, yeah, we literally have some people doing that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Raghav is asking, do you think Flutter is a good language to learn now?
I think there's 3 ways you can do it, Flutter being one of them, Xamarin being another one, and then React Native being the other. So that's Google's cross-platform native builder. So, and it's in version 1.5, I think. Xamarin's on like the 15th release. So.
I'm going to let you clarify your point on this to Maverick, because I know you do have a point on this. I think he might be misunderstanding this here. So he said, Bobby, you said there's no ML course because it's too early, but don't you think getting in early on ML will give you an edge? Imagine if Zuckerberg hadn't learned to make the website because it was too early. I don't think it's about being early, Maverick. I think it's about machine learning. I think you've said this a million times, but becoming easier. And it's like...
Yeah, it's going to be easier.
It's going to automate itself, right? Kind of? Like,
yeah.
So...
The tooling's going to get better. So, like, listen, man, if ML is your passion, that's what you want to do, learn as much as you can about it, build a portfolio around it, and go do it. I'm not saying that machine learning is something you shouldn't do, but most people that come to me don't have a job in technology. And so they're asking me, what do I do to get a job this year starting from ground zero? And the answer is not machine learning.
Right.
Web development will vastly get you in a job that makes money. But I've said that it's hard to me to believe that they're making complete degrees based around this stuff, data science and machine learning, when it's just going to be another thing that you write code for in the next 2 years. And I don't know, and I may be underestimating what you have to know how to do it, but I just know it's going to get easier. And so, like, learning how to code, then you can build. Just look at ML.net and look at the interfaces they're putting on top of that to make it easier to do. And that's what all of these vendors are going to do, because make it easy. But I think it's a subset of the overall market. So,
right.
But yeah, learn it if you want to. Go for it.
John says his picture should have been a video. It don't come through as a video, John. It says the squares resize automatically.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it doesn't come through that way, John. It comes through as a photo. I don't know why.
So it's responsive, like it moves around as you make it, and it's responsive. Is that what it is?
I guess, yeah. He says, oh, there's another come from. He says, that's what Electron project was. It's a bench project. They're testing me for a job. Oh, cool. So this is something they had you produce as a part of an interview? That's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, very
interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. We always like hearing what companies ask people to do.
Yeah.
Because, we're working with students all the time, trying to put them into jobs, and we always get feedback from them, and it's always something. Something interesting.
Yep.
A little bit off topic, but I know you have an opinion on this too. Thoughts on the Surface Duo, the whole foldable space, adding in another layout for developers need to adapt.
So, Xamarin's released obviously, since it's Microsoft, they've released a SDK for the Duo that handles the bezel in the middle, so that you don't have to think about like the layouts and things like that. So they're going to make that easier for you, so that your app can go between these different types of devices that are out there. So like that's already being thought out, and that's already happening. So like, will the Surface Duo take off? I have no idea. Like,
I don't think so.
We'll see. It's cool, but it's like it's $1,500. It moves into like a laptop in price, and then it offers some kind of features. We'll see. I mean, if it takes off, it takes off. I don't think you're going to have to adapt too much if you're using Xamarin, though. And then you're going to see things like media queries is like what I'm saying, but it's a different way of doing it. Then everyone will have their own implementation of it.
Because this is just one device. This is just one device with a certain fold down the middle that you have to account for.
Right.
The Samsung one doesn't have that fold down the middle, so you don't have to account for that. The next one might have a different sized fold, and it's like the fragmentation is going to be crazy.
Yeah, so you'll have SDKs that will help you do those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity if you're already building things, and you take the SDK and you build a cool app that runs on Surface Duo and put it in the Play Store. There's opportunity, man. It takes advantage of two screens.
Yep. Here's what I think, though. It's not going to be primarily a consumer device. It's going to be a corporate device of some kind, and your applications that you're going to write for it are probably going to be in-house at a business. Like if you're working at Salesforce, maybe it's a version of Salesforce you're writing as an internal app. I just don't see consumers buying it. I don't see for me, I'm like, I love technology, and for me, I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't see
to pound out an email on a train or on a plane. I mean, like, so like enterprise users may be the target for the whole thing, which is a Microsoft Play anyway. That's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
It's going to be the new BlackBerry. I mean, where you see all these guys in suits rocking out a Duo.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's the right thing. I don't think it's the right. It's not the right. We talk about screen shift all the time. I don't think it's the right screen shift.
Yeah.
I think it's
not yet.
I don't think it's even. Well, I don't think it's even an in between screen shift. Right? It's not, because it's not a full screen shift. It's going. You're doubling what you've already got. Like it's not a real. It's not a true shift. Yeah. It's really not.
So when you think about the market, you've got your classic phone like this.
Right.
You've got a tablet, and then you've got a foldable, and they're like all in the same space. They do the kind of the same things. And so if you really want to watch Netflix, but you wanted a bigger screen, but you didn't want to put it on your television, it seems like an iPad's a better device than the Duo.
Yeah.
And that's a major consumer thing that people are doing, you know.
Right.
So like, you know, when you want to get in that 12 p.m. Coder Foundry show, yeah,
right, watching it on an iPad in that high definition,
so,
or a TV.
And you want to see us in HD glory. It
I'm
seems
interested.
Like
does anybody watch us on TV?
Better.
Yeah, does anybody watch us on TV? I'm interested. Like, does anybody
I watch
here?
Us on TV.
You do? Okay, when you watch it back. Does anybody here watch us on TV? Is anybody watching it on TV right now? Because if so, we're probably way more wrinkly and horrible than watching it on the phone. You know? I wonder. We should look at those stats. It's interesting. Let's see. Got a few more comments and questions here.
While you're looking, Estevan, just look up the SDK for the Surface Duo. It runs on Android and inside of Xamarin. They have it native for Android too.
I don't know what Code Canyon is, but Martin's asking, can I put commercial software products like Code Canyon in the portfolio? Is it an up or down?
Did you build it?
Yeah, what is let me look up Code Canyon. Hold on. I'm not overly familiar. I think
it's like Envato or something like that.
Oh, okay, so it is. It's a marketplace. Oh, it is part of Envato, actually. Obviously, it's a little out of my wheelhouse. But I use their other stuff. So I guess, what's he asking?
If you put something on your portfolio, you need to make sure that you built it.
Right.
So, like, if you're releasing stuff for Code Canyon and you're doing it for a fee and it's yours, yes. If you downloaded somebody's thing, didn't author it, and just stuck it on your portfolio, that's bad.
I'm guessing that's not what he's saying. I'm guessing
I
that's
don't know
not
what
he's
he's
saying.
saying. Like,
but let's say that you... So here's the other end of this then. Let's say that you do create this piece of software, you put it on Code Canyon, and it gets slated. Let's say you end up with, like, reviews and it's all 1 stars. Do you still put it on?
No.
You leave it off. You leave it off? Okay. Okay. So there is a... Okay. So here's the...
I would hide it.
So if you've put it on there and it's a great piece of software, then yes. If it's not, then no.
Then you show it.
don't even show it. Oh, that's funny. Oh, look, Adam says he uses a TV as a monitor. Does that count? I think that counts, Adam. Yeah, how big is it? How big is it is the question. Oh, look. Ola says the same thing. She's using a 50-inch TV. So, yes.
Nice.
Man, we must be giant. It must be like right in your face. Like, especially if you're using it as a monitor right in front of you. That's nuts. Okay. Let me see.
Any other questions?
Dig through these. There are. I'm just going to dig through them. Let me see. These keep moving too quick sometimes. I know Java. Sorry. This is Salomon. Thanks for the question, German. Should I learn? I guess that's
Android.
Android. Okay, yeah. Android. Stop me a second. Android development, or with Java, or go with Flutter.
Flutter.
Okay.
That's what you need to do right now. That's the cross-platform native thing.
And that's if you're strictly just doing Android, right? Is there any benefit to learning Java and Android because you can use it to do web stuff too? Is that a benefit, or is that are you just mixing your...
I think Android development is going to go away from Java anyway. It's going to go to Kotlin and Flutter. I think those are the preferred languages. So, but I would learn a cross-platform native if I'm going to do mobile development. I'm releasing Android and iOS. Flutter will get you there. That's what you should do.
Okay.
Or learn Xamarin. You know, or you can do it in C#, and it's more likely what you're doing.
Okay, cool. Raphael says, spring chickens. I hope it's a little tiny iPhone, like 3 or 4. so we look even better. That's funny. Oh look, chat says everyone's watching this on a TV, man. He's watching on a 70-inch TV with NVIDIA Shield, chatting using his phone.
Wow.
See, I like that setup.
Right there,
that's a setup. I like that. I keep telling my wife, I think it has a 65-inch downstairs, and I keep telling her, whenever we go to Costco and pass one of those 80s, I'm like, I need one of those. It's like, I think it's like an 83, and I'm like, I think I need one of those. I need that 83-inch.
Yeah, man.
Shouldn't think it's
80.
Doesn't think it's right. I think it's very right. Oh, here's interesting. I don't know if you know about this. Can .NET work with Chromecast apps? Any Chromecast stuff? Isn't that Is it an OS feature though?
I would. .NET Core will run anywhere. I don't know the answer to that. I would have to research it.
Yeah,
but if you wanted to get it to run on Chromecast, I guarantee you could, because it's open source and you compile it.
Right. So whether you're pulling it from the OS or whether you're inputting it in from .NET, you can figure it out somehow.
Yeah, I think you could get it to run on there if someone hasn't done it already. If that was a major target for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen anybody do anything with that, but we don't. That's not what we're normally making at school. So
yeah.
Here you go, another person watching it on TV. Look, man, you guys are all watching on TV.
Takes me forever to comment.
See, and another one too. Look, Ryo says you can see all your pores in the 4K.
I got some pores going on.
That's funny. I think I do.
I did an exfoliate treatment this morning.
You know what?
So I was trying to get ready.
Now I know this. I'm going to start putting on that beauty filter on my thing here. You know what that is?
The beauty filter?
I'm just going to blur myself. The old TV blur. Maybe I'll put some like Vaseline on the lens here. Like make me,
that's it, right?
The old beauty filter blur. Okay, cool. Where are we? Oh, we're a little past the hour. That went on long. I didn't realize.
Let's go eat lunch, man.
I didn't realize we'd gone that long. Yeah. Couple things before we leave. We do have a Xamarin class next week.
Yeah.
You can go to codefoundry.com/mobile.
I'll give you the commercial for the Xamarin class. Let me do that real quick. If you're interested,
I'm going to put you on.
Come and talk to us. Xamarin, as we're building a front-end mobile app in Xamarin, then we're building the middle tier and Web API, and then we're moving the back end in .NET Core and ASP. If you're coding already, then this is the class for you. If you're new to coding, it's not the class for you. So just think about that. But it's definitely an enterprise level project. We're using a lot of things up in Azure that helps you with like push notifications and all the things that you'd want a mobile app to do. We're teaching during that 1 week. It's 5 days. It's 8 hours a day with Antonio Renner. So it'd be a good class if you're interested in learning about Xamarin and you're already coding. All right, that's my pitch, Kevin.
Cool. Someone's asking prerequisites.
We're teaching you Xamarin.
Yeah, but the prerequisites are you've got to already know how to develop. Yeah.
You know what a for loop is. We're not going to teach you. It's not a 0 to hero course because we only have 5 days.
Yep.
So if you're interested, call us, and if you don't think you're ready, call us, and we'll tell you if you're ready or not. We're not going to steer you wrong.
Yep. You can actually go to codefoundry.com/mobile, and you can find all the details there too, and apply there and do all that stuff.
But it's a good class, cross-platform. You'll compile to iOS, Android. But you need to get up this week so you can get your environment set up. There's an environment that you got to have going. Using Visual Studio Community is what we'll be using. So should be good.
One other thing, I put you back on here. The T-shirt's pinned to the top of the chat if you're interested in it. The all matte black T-shirt.
Black on black, baby.
It's subtle and I like it. I want more. I might buy myself more of these. I think they're cool.
Everyone's getting the hot black on black T-shirt.
Yep. Yep, I think it's cool. And it's pinned to the top of the chat, or you can go to teespring.com. I think it's /store/codefoundry. And you can find it there too. It's I think it's the last one we put on there. So,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
All right. So we'll have a video release tomorrow, and then we'll see you guys on Monday.
Yeah, we'll be back.
So
see you guys later.
Good. Good luck, guys. Keep coding. See you.
Bye.